Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. If we haven't met, hi, my name is Chris, but if we have met, hey, it's great to see you again. So today's video, as you can tell, I'm going to be talking about my lockdown experiences over the last year. Mixing both sort of the deal with work and the deal with like having to cope with lockdown and stuff. I was going to separate them and have like a one based on work and one based on personal life, but I think just merging the two together is probably the best bet. So this is probably going to be a long video. So brace yourselves for that. But I would say, like, you know what I love doing is I love videos like this, and I will put them on whilst I'm tidying my room or whilst I'm cleaning the bathroom or whatever. And I'm like, right, let's listen and use like a podcast. So yeah, so this is going to be a video kind of letting you guys into my life a little bit more, because I know that I'm sometimes a bit of a closed book on YouTube. And I'm like, hey, you should know a little bit more about what's going on. So why am I doing this video now? Well, I'm glad you asked. So 2 days ago, the 20th, was the 1 year anniversary of the gym's closing. Now, if you don't know, I'm a personal trainer, I'm a fitness instructor, I work in the industry. So that was quite monumental for me to have my workplace literally shut. And then tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of the UK going into lockdown, which means today is the 365th day. Yeah, feels like the 365th day. Yeah, oh my God. 365th day that we have been dealing with the effects of lockdown and post-lockdown and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the ride. Phrasing, boom. So, if you haven't subscribed already, by the way, subscribe and hit the like button. If not for me, for the beautiful Disney prints. Not prints, but prints. I mean, they're gift bags. I framed these gift bags. Are they not cute? I mean, come on. Thumbs up for those prints. So, let's start with, let's put some of the basic facts out there so that, you know, you don't have to be scouring through them. I have now, out of the last 52 weeks, because there's 52 weeks in a year, just in case you didn't know, out of the last 52 weeks, I have been working like as normal for 15 of them. So for 37 weeks, I haven't been working. I've been doing a little bit here, a little bit there, but mostly my whole career has come to a grinding halt. My whole industry has stopped. Like, this is crazy. So that's what's been happening with me. Summary. Now let's find out what's really going on. So the build up to the pandemic, I have been teaching classes, group fitness classes, you know, yoga and dance and things like that, for a few years now. And I qualified as a personal trainer in 2019. Late 2019, and I decided not to immediately go and join a gym at the time because I was physically drained. I'd had a very busy 2019, and I needed a little bit of downtime before I took on a new career. I wanted to make sure everything was in the right place. So I joined a gym as a self-employed personal trainer in the end of February, and it was around the 20th or so, and so I'd spend a lot of time being like, okay, this is the gym I want to work at, and this is the pay structure I'm going to have, and this is what I want to do, and like, this is how I'm going to plan everything out, and this is my business model, because you need to have a business model. And obviously that's changed now. Hello, online training, I'm just saying, I'm working on it. If you're interested, let me know in the comments, message me on Instagram, all links down below. So I signed up for a gym, and I was given 4 weeks for free. Before I have to start paying rent, because you pay rent as a personal trainer to the gym to use their facilities, unless you are employed by them, but not very many use that model. So I signed up, I got 4 weeks for free, and as luck would have it, I didn't need to pay them any money, because at the end of the 4th week, the gym's closed. And it was like, okay, I had done 3 sessions with clients. So I managed to get clients relatively quickly. I was quite fortunate, and I had done 3 sessions before the gyms closed. And I was like, okay, this isn't great. And especially because when I was on my training, now I don't know if this is true, but anecdotally, from my trainer, I was told that 80% of newly qualified personal trainers leave the industry within their first 12 months. So 1 in 5 stick around. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. So I was absolutely determined not to become a statistic like that. And I had to sort of dig my heels in. And obviously I've started, and then COVID hit. And I was like, this is crazy, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. But obviously when the gyms closed and COVID first hit, like, nothing was allowed. We couldn't go exercise. So yeah, like, before I get into that, the Friday the gyms closed, I'd been having lunch with my mum. I came home and it was like, yeah, we're closing the gym. And I'm like, oh God, I was supposed to be teaching tomorrow. Like, whoa, this is crazy. Because we kind of knew something was coming, but we kind of got also very little notice. We got the note, I think it was Friday evening, and we closed Friday night. I remember the Sunday before we closed, we all thought it was going to be about 4 weeks away. Then the Monday was like 2 weeks. And then the Tuesday was like, oh, probably the end of next week. And then the Wednesday was like, probably the end of this week. And then it was like, it just, the sheer speed of how everything changed for us was something like I've never experienced before. And yeah, so it just closed. And I was like, wow, okay. And then I had the weekend, and then on the Monday, the UK went into lockdown, full lockdown. And we weren't allowed to PT. We weren't allowed to do anything. Like, social distancing was like in place for shops and stuff, but it was like, no, you can't PT outside. You can't exercise outside with other people. You can go as you're on your own for like a run, but you can't do anything else. It was like weird. And so that was the 23rd of March. I live alone. I'm quite happy to live alone, but it was bizarre to have like all social contact cut off from you. You know, we didn't have our social bubbles or anything, so I couldn't go see my mum, who doesn't live nearby. So it's not like I could just walk past a house and like have a little wave or anything. And yeah, but luckily we had a lot of beautiful weather. So we could make the most of the weather. I have a small balcony in my flat, which gets all the sunshine. So I was very lucky for that. And I was very fortunate to have like that sort of space. But I was going for walks. I was doing some exercise from home. I also started teaching online for free, just to keep everyone going, because originally we thought it was only going to be a couple of weeks. The government said about 3 weeks. I am a bit more of a realist. They said 3, I heard 6 to 8 in my head. You know what I mean? I was like, it's probably gonna be a little bit longer. I've done biology, like viruses don't just disappear like that. So I thought a lockdown for 6 to 8 weeks. And within about a week, I realized it was gonna be a lot longer. But in that time, I decided I was going to teach some classes just on Facebook for my members, you know, for the people that I know, just for free, half an hour stuff, just keep them going. And I did that. I was doing 5 a week for 18 weeks. So yeah, I didn't go back to work until 18 weeks later. So it was the 25th of July, I think it was. Long time. But during that time, how was it for me? Honestly, there was a novelty to it. I think we can all say there was a novelty, but for everyone, it wore off at different points. I am quite happy in my own company, but it was tricky to not have that physical interaction. I'm a huggy person. I'm quite a touchy-feely person. And so to have that completely cut off was weird. Like, I didn't touch another human being for 12 weeks until they said, like, you can like have your social bubble and you can have the rule of 6, which is when my mum became my bubble, my mum and her partner. That was the first time I touched another human being. And it was like crazy to think I went 12 weeks. But I kept myself busy around the house. I was sort of doing a little bit of sort of decorating, but not major decorating. I didn't get into banana bread. Like, I did not get into banana bread. That was not my jam. I can't cook, so I didn't get into that trend. But I was doing my classes. I was watching a lot of Agatha Christie's Poirot and Marple on ITV3. I love a good murder mystery like that, an old school one, not CSI or anything. And I was keeping my flat really clean and tidy, and it was cool. I was playing a lot of video games. I reconnected with some friends that like play online through Discord and stuff. So I play Dota 2. I would love to get a Switch. I really would like to get a Switch, but they're quite expensive. But I want to Switch with Pokemon and Mario Kart. Oh my God. But because I stopped playing video games to focus on my studies in 2019, I stopped playing them altogether. I uninstalled everything. And with lockdown, it was like, okay, let's get back into this. I've got nothing else to do. So we all did the same thing. We were all playing together online, and it was just great fun chatting to each other. And we were up until sunrise every day. Like my sleep pattern went out the window. So as much as I was having fun, my sleep cycle was messed up. I am a night owl. I fully expected that to happen. But when I was seeing sunrise every day, it was like, maybe I should probably start trying to change this. But for the most part, I was having an okay time. I know some of my friends and family were having a much harder time, but I was okay. I was fine. There were points where it got a bit difficult. Like when Disney closed, Disneyland, that kind of hit me. I think that was when it kind of got real. I was like, wow, the magic has left the world a little bit. Like, because I'm a huge Disney fan. I was due to go to Disney in May, and obviously that was cancelled. And I'm kicking myself that I didn't go in the February. I had a weekend free, and I was like, I could go to Disneyland. I've got an annual pass. I could go, and I didn't do it. I was like, no, I'm going in May. It'll be fine for the Disney run. And yeah, it didn't happen. And then, so that was a bit like okay, this is actually happening when they closed, I think it was like April. And then when Eurovision was cancelled, that was also like a whoa moment. But watching the Eurovision special that they did was really difficult for me because it was like, I love Eurovision. I was supposed to go. I was supposed to see my friends. I was supposed to have a great time, I was supposed to be having a party, we're all supposed to be together, just having a really nice time. And we were all stuck at home, globally. It kind of drove the point home that we're all in the same issue, but as well, it kind of also highlighted how lonely everyone must be feeling or cut off. And it was just a bit like it was just a horror. It was a beautiful moment, but a horrible moment at the same time, that we're kind of in it together, but it was still horrible. Yeah, but it was interesting that for the most part of the first lockdown, I didn't have much anxiety. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. To have no worries other than making sure everyone's safe was a very interesting feeling. All I had to do was stay at home. So I did. I spent a lot of time on my balcony. Luckily, the previous year, I had completely cleaned it because it used to be like storage. I completely cleared it, cleaned it, I put down AstroTurf, and I spent the first part of lockdown decorating it with solar lights, and I mean, it's just beautiful. I bought a hammock, like, come on. So that kept me really busy, but obviously my finance stream had been cut off. But luckily, the government sorted out a furlough scheme. So if you were, originally it was only for employed staff, and of which I'm not. I'm self-employed, I'm freelance. Originally it was for employed staff. Basically they said, look, if your business has had to close, you go home and we'll pay you 80% of your wage every month to stay at home. So they threw a lot of money. This was everyone, every month. I know in America, there's been debates over a $1,000 stimulus check or whatever it was, like one time. Everyone in the UK who was unable to physically work was given 80% of their wage, up to £7,500 each per month. Every month that you were closed. That was then extended to the self-employed people because originally it wasn't. It was extended to us, and we were offered the same deal. However, it didn't include the 2019 to 2020 tax year. That was the tax year where I made all my money. So they wanted 3 years worth, and they were going to take an average of your 3 years last tax returns. I had 2.5 years worth. They took 1.5 years worth because they didn't include the last year. So, and they took 80% of that. That was when I was starting my career. I didn't have much work. So what I was receiving was not 80% of what I was earning before lockdown. I was earning about 30, I was getting about 30% of what I was earning before lockdown. So that was a bit of like an ouch factor. However, I'm very fortunate that my monthly outgoings are relatively low. I'm someone that would rather pay upfront than have a higher monthly bill. For example, my phone, I buy my mobile phone outright, and then I have a SIM-only plan so that all that comes out of my bank account is, you know, I pay £17 a month for my SIM card. I have unlimited internet calls and data, calls, text and data, unlimited. Rather than pay £85 a month, you know, I'm not that kind of guy. I don't want to do that. I'd rather pay out front if I can. So I'd rather save, and then get it, rather than get it now and pay it off. You know what I mean? So luckily that kind of worked in my favor. So I could live off of 30% excuse me, what is going on with his hair, basically. So I'm not complaining. I know there's people that, what is going on in my hair? I know there are people that were having a much harder time financially. So, you know, I'm just glad that I got something. That's all. I'm just glad I got a little bit of something to tide me over and pay my bills. And that was it. I'm not complaining about anything else. I'm not even complaining about what I got. You know, I'm fortunate to have got what I got. So we progressed through the summer, and I mean, how long is this video? Wow, this is long already. I told you it's gonna be a long one. We progressed through the summer, and you know, there's some easing of restrictions a little bit. You know, you can have the rule of 6. Luckily, what was really amazing was the restrictions of like when they brought in the rule of 6, where 6 people can get together but be socially distanced, and they introduced social bubbles. That came in, I think it was like 2 days before my birthday, because my birthday's in June, and it was a couple of days before it. So basically it meant I was legally allowed to go see my family for my birthday. And it was like, you know, that was just wonderful. So we got together in the, where did we get together? Were we allowed? Yeah, I'm getting confused. There were so many rules and regulations, but basically we got together because in my family there's 6 of us, including myself. So we fitted the mold for the rule of 6, and so we could get together socially distanced, and just mark the occasion. And it was more than just like my birthday. It felt more like a marking of, okay, we've come this far. But that was the 12-week point. So I'd spoken to my mum, and we agreed we would be each other's social bubble. Her and her partner and myself were in a bubble, so we could have a hug. And it was the first time in 12 weeks I'd hugged anyone, touched anybody, you know, been around anybody. And it was like really cool. So shortly after that, I thought I was going to go back to work in like September. I thought the gyms would reopen in September. There was still rates of infection. It still wasn't quite, I think, the right time. And in retrospect, I'm still not convinced that if the opening in July, because the gyms opened in July, at the end of it, the 25th. So I was about 4 weeks out, I thought, from the beginning, September, and it happened at the end of July. Because we then had spoiler alert, we had another lockdown later on. I'm not sure then realistically if opening the gyms at that time was the right thing to do, and there's this hypothetical question of if everything had stayed shut for another 3 months, would we collectively have been in a better position or not? I don't know if there's ever really going to be a full answer to that. So I went back to the gym on the 20th of July. Luckily, I was given a few classes, plenty of classes, and the success of our club in particular meant that we could put on more and more classes. Like, primarily, first and foremost, I'm a fitness instructor because I haven't established myself yet as a PT. So at that point, I think we had, yes, at that point, so July, we had been allowed to start PTing, I think. So I was PTing a couple of people outside in the parks, socially distanced, blah, blah, blah. And I was starting to sort of do that. So luckily I had a little bit of money coming in, but again, not loads. And when the gyms reopened with the classes, I worked between multiple gyms. The gym that I was PTing at and the gym that I predominantly teach at are not the same. So let's set the scene. I teach multiple different classes, but one of the bigger ones that I was involved with was Les Mills. So I'm a Les Mills instructor. I teach body balance, Shabam, and Les Mills bar. And when I returned to the gyms, all the Les Mills classes had been pulled except for body pump at one of my gyms, and at the other one, they were still running them, but they had a much reduced timetable. So I went from 10, I think I was doing 10 Les Mills classes a week at the end of 2019. And when I returned in July, I was doing 1. But I was doing freestyle instead. I also do freestyle, so that's fine. But it was a bit of a shock because Les Mills, if you know, it was like, it really dominates in the fitness industry. And in the UK, it's kind of, I don't know, it's sort of, you can't get classes in it anymore. Not in my area, which is a shame. I really like them. So the gym that I was PTing at, the members weren't coming back as quickly as the members at the gym I was teaching at. So the PT club, they offered us as PTs, they offered us 6 weeks for free to get new clients and get the ball rolling again. I was like, that's a really great offer. Thank you very much. I'll have that. But within a couple of weeks, I realized the members, again, were just not returning. The vibe was different. There was something not quite right. And I made the decision to leave before the end of the 6 weeks so that I didn't have to start paying. Because after that point, I'd be paying, I think it was 50% of my rent per month, which still wasn't bad. But the clients that I had left the gym. So I'd have to start from scratch again. And there was less members there. I wasn't teaching as much there. And it was like, I don't think this is going the way I thought it was going to go. So I left. I still taught there 2 classes a week. But yeah, I left. And I was like, right, so PTing, I'm gonna just carry on doing it outside. Come rain or shine, whatever the weather, I'm doing it. So I was doing that. And then luckily during the lockdown, the first lockdown, I had managed to get myself some weights from Argos. I got 50 kilos of weights. I made it basically my full-time job in the first few weeks. It took me 7 weeks to buy weights because obviously everyone was buying equipment, fitness equipment, everyone was doing stuff at home. And I managed to get some. They're really good value. They're quite bulky and sturdy, so I could use them outdoors and stuff. So yeah, I got those, but I was refreshing that. I had my page of wish list items. I was refreshing that like 20 to 30 times a day. And the amount of near misses, like I got them in my basket, checked out, and then, oh, problem, no, it's been sold already. I'm like, the amount of times, but I finally got myself a set on week 7 of 18. So I was able to PT with weights and stuff. So I thought, right, I've still got a few clients at this point. Let's carry on doing it outdoors. Let's see, I can go to people's gardens when we're allowed to go there and everything. So that became my new business model. But at the gym I was teaching at, their members came back. Like they came back, thousands and thousands of them returned. And so we were able to put on more classes. and then more classes, and then more classes. And I think by the end of it, we were doing one of, if not the most expansive timetables in the whole company. We were running, I think by the end of it, it was 170 classes a week. It was crazy, and I was doing 16 of them. Like, I built up, so I returned to, I can't remember how many, and I just kept adding more and more and more. I was doing 16 a week plus all my personal training on top. So I was working a lot of hours. I was very tired, but I felt like there was another lockdown coming. So I just took as much money as I could get, all the work I could get. I was very grateful for it, but I was very physically exhausted. So we went back to work at the gyms, socially distanced and everything, for 12 weeks. So from the 25th of July until end of October, I think it was, 12 weeks. Yeah, it was 12. The infection rates had gone up again, and we went into another mini lockdown in November for 4 weeks. Now, the first lockdown I was kind of okay with, because in my head, I had rationalized, I had, totally come to terms with the fact that this would probably be a much longer one. This lockdown, they said 4 weeks. My gut told me it would be 4, but there was a big question of whether they would extend it. And that, for some reason, really unsettled me. So the gyms closed again. And that 4-week lockdown was when the night started to get really dark. It was dark all the time. I couldn't get into a routine. It felt very disruptive. So I found that lockdown, the 4-week one, really difficult. Like really, 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 really difficult. That was a really horrible one to go through. Hey guys, just a little side note, just a little post-editing. I'm just sat here editing the video and just making sure that everything's cool. And I forgot completely to mention that another reason that I found the second lockdown, which was in November, really, really difficult, was that the gym that I was PTing at, which I had left, shut permanently. So they had been bought out by another company during the 12-week opening period. And when we went through the second lockdown, they closed that branch permanently. So that was also a really big emotional blow, because I was only doing about 2 classes a week there, but that was with my last Les Mills class, which was body balance. And I really love body balance. So that was like, I had lost all of my Les Mills classes. I had lost 2 more classes. I had lost an entire facility, and it was done. It wasn't a case of like, I'd walked away from it like just as a PT. It closed. I lost that whole avenue. So not only was I back in a lockdown, was it, a bit unsettling, the nights were short, I'd also lost a gym. So, and it just kind of really drove home the point of like, this industry is getting battered a little bit here. And yeah, that made me feel very uncomfortable and very unsettled. So I completely forgot to include that in the normal spiel, and I knew there was something important that I'd forgotten, and that's one of them. So yep, just inserting this little nook in there so you've got a little bit more information. Right, okay, back to you in the studio. Yeah, it was a really horrible one to go through. I felt very disjointed. The whole thing was very disruptive, and when I talked to my friends and family, they all seemed to say that the first one was rough for them and the second one was better, and I was the complete opposite. Yeah, it was just always dark, it was always cold and blah. And yeah, so we then came back to work in December, and then my area, unfortunately, we had some amazingly low infection rates in my area compared to the rest of the country. And, I'm like an hour outside of London, and we were one of the lowest. There was like 369 areas for COVID that they had identified, and we were at one point like 350 or 355, something like that. We were like so far down the list. And then, so when it came to like reopening after the first lockdown, we had this tier system. We were like really low down. We had basically way more freedoms than most of the country. So we had a real sense of normality. You know, just up the road, like there was a tier 3, I think it was, and that's when you can't do group classes. So we were still able to work out, still go to the gym, still do my classes and everything. And we were at the lower end of everything. It was fine. And then over the border, like a 10-minute drive, they couldn't do that. They couldn't have classes. And it was like, okay, wowza. And then, so after the second lockdown, when they brought back the tier system, they had like, I think they put, yeah, because everyone was tier 2 or tier 3. Then they brought in like the tier 1. And my area was like the next one. 3 people went into tier 1, like 3 areas out of the entire country. 3 areas went in. And apparently the health secretary said that my area was like literally next on the list, but we were like 1 person per 100,000 higher than the cutoff or something. So we were all like, no, we could have had so much more freedom. And then unfortunately what happened was this Kent strain, the UK strain that you've probably heard about if you're global, the UK strain, which picked up in Kent, which is south of the Thames, took hold in my area, which is north of the Thames. And I mean, we'd had all year of very low rates. And this was how fast this one spread, because they said it's just more contagious. It spread like wildfire. People, as far as I could see, were still following the rules. We weren't having big gatherings. There wasn't that stuff happening in the news. People were distancing themselves really, really well in the supermarket. And it spread like wildfire. And so we were back at work for 3 weeks. And then we went into tier 3. Or was it tier 4? We went into a higher restriction on Christmas Eve. So that was the last time I worked. I taught the last class in that club, lunchtime on Christmas Eve. Thankfully, we were still able to meet our social bubbles. So I went to see my social bubble for Christmas. We were supposed to have a family Christmas, which I believe we were still allowed to do. They made special dispensation for like 2 social bubbles to kind of get together or something. For a larger Christmas gathering, and technically we fitted those rules, but we decided as a family not to do it. We stayed separate, so my aunt and uncle, my nan stayed in one place, myself, my mum and a partner stayed in the other, but we FaceTimed and stuff, and it was a lovely Christmas. It really was. Just very simple, very basic. Well, basic, it was just lovely to have a bit of downtime. But then I came back. I think I must have been tier 4 because my mum lives in a tier 3 at the time. So they had more ease, like they still had shops open. And then I came back and it was like even worse. It was like, oh my God, this is just bizarre. So that led me into New Year. And it's been this. So what I've done is I've had to refocus and sort of adapt my business strategy. Luckily, we've still been able to personal train. So I have been personal training, but it has to be outdoors. I can't go to people's houses anymore. I can't like to their gardens. But hopefully that will ease from, I think it's next week. I need to double check, but you know, I've basically had to really adapt. And luckily I have still been personal training throughout the year, albeit on and off based on restrictions, but I have officially made it to the 1-year point. Still in the industry, still working, still trying to keep things together. So I haven't become a statistic. Thumbs up for that. You know what I mean? Like, I at least set out, I achieved what I set out to do, which was make it to 1 year and build on my experience. What an experience, because oh my God, COVID, the whole lockdown, the pandemic has really made me think outside the box. And the funny thing is, it's been an amazing learning experience because I'm now very used to working outdoors. I quite like working outdoors. Yeah, it's a bit temperamental with the weather, but I enjoy driving around to people's gardens or to their parks or whatever and working outside. I'm not paying rent every month. I've got basic equipment, and it seems that how it's kind of going for me at the moment, because everyone has their own niches, it seems that I'm sort of working a lot on technique so that when people are not with me, they know what they're doing in the gym. I'm working a lot on, like, as we're coming back to the gyms, I've started to have people wanting like more gym-based workout routines. So like when they're with me, we're doing circuits or we're doing weight training, you know, whatever it is in wherever car park I am, or park. And it's sort of, it's yeah, motivation, people getting started, beginners, even intermediate. I've had an advanced person come to me and they wanted like to be beasted for an hour. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to make this really hard for this person who has been like lifting weights long before I was even born? And your boy beasted them, their words. So that was good. And I've also, you know, I've taken on a client who just wants workouts. He's got all his equipment at home. We have a catch up every other week, you know, just to make sure the technique's fine, you know, any issues or questions and that kind of thing. And that has been a real eye-opener because that's been very interesting for me to do rather than like the actual in-person sessions. It's been more of a distant kind of thing. So that has been like working in my mind like, it's not a bad idea. And I'm looking at exploring that a bit further. So if any of you are interested in, you know, online training, distance training, where, you know, you get a workout plan and then maybe like a small catch up with me periodically to make sure everything's cool. If you're interested in that, let me know, because I'm interested in exploring that idea further. Because he used to have an online trainer somewhere else, and then he lives relatively local to me, and we sort of discovered, but he still wants that distance learning, but I just so happen to live in the same town as him. So yeah, he like, I want to explore that a bit further. So let me know if you're interested. And so that sort of leads us up to now. Yeah, so I've been training people. I'm looking at staying outdoors rather than going to a gym, because I can tell people like what they need to use in a gym. I can tell them how to do it. There's videos and everything. They can ask the instructors that are there or whatever. Most people know how to use a chest press machine. And I'm just trying to put together just really solid workouts. So luckily people have stuck with me. And, you know, it's not been like loads of sessions a week, but it's something, and I'm just glad for something. So it's amazing to kind of look back over the last year and be like, wow, that's been a year, and look where it's taken me. Like, I always thought I would work in a gym. It never really crossed my mind to kind of go to people's houses or go to parks, do it outdoors, buy my own weights. And what it's done is made me think, actually, there is a niche for this. And especially now, if a lot of people are working from home, I could be the PT that goes to theirs on their lunch break and we work out, or they, you know, afterwards they don't have to drive to the gym. I'm happy to go around and do all that. It's even made me think, you know, down the line, maybe I'd buy a house with an outbuilding where I have my own gym at home, which is something I hadn't considered. And it's just really making me think in such a different way, which I'm really enjoying. And it's also like, now I'm seeing my YouTube channel kind of going in a different direction to even what I thought 12 months ago when I came back. And I struggled to keep up with it because something wasn't quite fitting for me. And now I'm like, you know, I feel like this process is making me see things again through a different light. So I'm going to try and be doing more videos of, you know, follow along fitness for all levels, but also like this kind of video where you get to know me a little bit more, where I can talk about fitness or answer questions. If you have any questions, let me know, because I'll do videos on it. You know, this sort of mixture of everything, but like get to know me a little bit, get fit, get healthy, just have a good time exercising. Exercising doesn't have to be boring or cumbersome, and, you know, just a bit more of a all-around approach. So I've put in, like, I've got this idea of like fitness style and philosophy in my head, and it feels a bit more fleshed out. So I'm really hoping that this is the puzzle pieces fitting together that I need to kind of really go full steam ahead on this. And then today I've also been talking to one of my gyms who are going to be running outdoor classes from next week. And I've been very fortunate to have been given a few. So it's not as expansive a timetable as it was before, but it's something. I'm just grateful for a little bit of work. The indoor classes can't start until mid-May, and I wasn't sure if my gym would be doing outdoor classes because they hadn't done it. Some of the others had, but my one had not, and we're doing it. So, you know, there's still massive questions about what's going to happen going forward. People are talking about vaccine passports. Obviously, the UK are doing pretty well with their vaccine rollout at the moment. Over half of UK adults have been vaccinated as of this point, the 22nd of March. Over half have had their first dose. Yesterday, they did 870,000 doses in a day or something. You know, we're steaming ahead, but there's now talk about a third wave potentially at the end of summer. Whether we'll be allowed on a holiday, social distancing questions, mask questions, that kind of thing. There's still lots up in the air, but you know, it's really good and important, I think, to take time to reflect over the last year. And I know it sounds so cliche, but I think it's important. And you know, what I've been doing the last few weeks is get myself ready to decorate the flat. I'm decorating it this week. So I've bought, like, you know, new bedding, and I've bought new accessories for around the house, and I've bought paint, and you know, I've turned, this room was a spare bedroom. This is my office now. So there's lots of different things going on, and I'm like, it feels like it's the right time to be giving my flat a refresh, giving my mind a refresh. I've been decluttering, I've been getting everything out, and it's like, let's start, you know, for me, let's start going along this path, and or hopefully a fresh new path. And I don't want it to come across as, you know, conceited or like, you know, that I've had a great time, because I haven't particularly had the most wonderful time, but I've certainly had a better time than others. I can't deny that, because, you know, there's a lot of people that lost loved ones. There's a lot of people that didn't have a comfortable place to be in. They, you know, their work was more disrupted than mine was, even though I've had no work for 37 weeks. You know, the theatre people have had nothing. Globally, there's been so many different people in different situations, and I remind myself that I'm very fortunate to have been in the position where I was in, that I got some money from the government, that I had some work in between lockdowns, that I've had clients stand by me, and that it's made me think of maybe taking my business in a different direction, online and, you know, people's houses and stuff, or staying outdoors. Getting back into YouTube in a way that at the moment seems clearer to me than it did 12 months ago. I thought I had a clear idea last year, and I don't think it really was as clear as I thought. And I'm hoping that it's now as clear as it needs to be. So yeah, but it's just amazing to think that this is happening. It's been 12 months. It feels like so much longer. Who knows when the end is? You know, we've had a good vaccine rollout in the UK, but if other places haven't caught up, you know, or we're not at the same rate, can we travel? Can we still open up? You know, if not everyone in the world is vaccinated, then we're still at risk, right? So there's still a lot of questions unanswered, and I don't think anyone should be getting complacent, but it's always worth to reflect. So well done if you made it this far. I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up. There's probably a couple of important bits that I've forgotten to mention, but honestly, as you guys know, so much has happened in the last 12 months that to remember everything, even if I sort of wrote everything down point by point, I would need at least a day and a half to think about what exactly happened and then mark it all down, and I'd probably be talking for like 3 days at that point. So that's kind of my story, me. You know, 12 weeks completely alone. Out of 52 weeks, I've worked for 15. I've sort of worked my business in a slightly different direction, which I'm enjoying. I'm taking YouTube in a different direction, which I'm enjoying, and I'm hoping to really sort of get my teeth stuck into, you know, uploading a little bit more regularly, especially after I've finished decorating. I've been so busy with cleaning and decluttering, and like I've been really working on it that everything else has kind of taken a back seat. But hopefully I can start building back the YouTube channel. I do miss it. So yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, it really supports the channel. Follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at @ChristopherThomas_. If you have any questions, let me know. I would love to hear some of your lockdown stories. How did you get through? Did you find the first... Oh, and because obviously we had 3 lockdowns, so I know I'm wrapping up, but we had the first lockdown in the UK, the second one in November, and then shortly after New Year, we had a 3rd lockdown, which we're still in. But I was in tier 4, which was basically a local lockdown before the nation got into it. So collectively, the UK is still in lockdown number 3. But yeah, how did you find the lockdowns? I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope a little insight into my life has been interesting. Let me know if you like more stories like this, story time, you know. Any questions about fitness you have, let me know. If you're interested in maybe online stuff, let me know. Any videos you want to see, let me know. I'm quite receptive at the moment. So, well done. How long has this been? It's been a long one. I apologise, but really well done if you got this far, and I hope you've done a lot of cleaning or tidying up done. Until next time, everybody, thanks, stay safe, keep warm, keep cool, whichever temperature, you know, climate you're in, and I will catch you in the next video. So yeah, see you then, take care, love you lots, bye bye.